Hello Lightning Leaders, and welcome back to our next math video. The next couple of videos we're going to be doing some stuff with geometry. In this video I wanted to focus on lines, and then in the next video we're going to focus on angles. So that way we can break it up a little bit, but still get our geometry practice. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the different kinds of things we find with lines, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a like this crazy looking thing up here on the board, and what I want you to do is to be able to find one of each of these things within that picture. But to start with, we're going to talk about what each of these pieces are, how to write them, and what they look like. And what I mean by that is mathematicians have a very special way of labeling each of these things. We're going to start with a line. Now, we know what a line is. A line is a straight side of something, but the special thing about a line is that it goes on forever. And that's why whenever we see a line, there has to be an arrow on both ends. And I'm just going to do a couple points in here, because this line passes through points A and B. So if we were to write that, label line AB, it would look like this. The A and the B together with a line on top. That says line AB. And this is what it would look like in a picture. Now the next is a line segment. Now a line segment looks like a line, but it's not. Because a line segment starts and stops. It's a piece of a line. So a line segment starts at a point and ends at a point. Notice how the line has arrows telling me it goes on forever and ever and ever in both directions, but the line segment stops. It begins and ends. There's a finite part of this line. Now it's labeled almost the same way as a line. It's the two letters, the 2 points that it passes through. And then it's just a line. It's just this line with no arrows on top. So lines and line segments are very similar and very easy to get confused. The only difference is that a line segment stops. It doesn't go on forever. It's just a piece of a line. Now a ray is a little crazy in itself as well, because it really kind of combines the first two. A ray starts at a point, but then goes on forever. So we'll say this line starts at point E, passes through point F, but it goes on forever and ever and ever. And to label a ray, it looks something like this. We have an arrow on top of the points that the ray passes through. Not to get this confused with an array from multiplication, our rows and columns, that is spelled A-R-R-A-Y. This is a ray spelled R-A-Y. Very similar sounding, but very completely different things in math. These last two here are special lines. And actually, I'm going to add one more on the bottom of our chart here. And we'll talk about this one when we get there. Now, perpendicular lines are a very special set of lines. There's only one way that these lines can happen, and that is when there are two lines that come together to make, oop, I didn't draw that right. That doesn't go there. Math video, Mr. S has to make a mistake somewhere. They look like this. They are two lines that come together in a perfect cross where all of the angles where those lines meet are 90 degrees. And I don't know, let's say A, B, C, D, E, F. This is G, H, I, J. So to say that these are perpendicular lines, to give it a label, now this is some high-level stuff here. It would be line segment GH is perpendicular to line segment IJ. So I know that these lines are perpendicular because they make a perfect right angle. They make a perfect 90-degree angle. And that is the only way you're going to get perpendicular lines. This is the only way that you can have perpendicular lines. Now, parallel lines are a little different. Actually, they're a lot different. Parallel lines are two lines that will never, ever, ever, ever touch. Now, because I'm freehanding this isn't going to be perfect. I left all my rulers and protractors and all that in the classroom. Parallel lines will go on forever and ever and ever and ever and never touch. And give these some points here. J, K, L, M, N. And this is actually written very similarly to the perpendicular lines. Except this time we have this kind of, this double L in the middle here. And that tells us that those lines are parallel. They never, ever, ever touch. I like to think of railroad tracks. Railroad tracks never, ever, ever touch, the two tracks. That way, because if they did, the train would just fall off the track. So these are lines that never, ever, ever come together. And the nice way to remember this is parallel is spelled with two L's. Well, that's the symbol for parallel. So the parallel lines are the ones with the parallel lines in the name. And then the other one's just perpendicular. So if you can remember parallel, you're going to remember the other one. Now, I threw this last one here on the bottom, intersecting lines. Now, intersecting lines are special because these are lines that cross, but not at a 90-degree angle. So these lines, that actually looks like a 90-degree angle. I want to fix that. Make that a little more exaggerated here. Yeah. Intersecting lines are lines that cross, but not at a 90-degree angle. So let's see. J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. And in fourth grade, we don't have to worry about labeling the intersecting lines. These are just things we have to know. Any line that crosses another line that isn't 90 degrees is an intersecting line. So that's why we talk about these two, though, because these are special cases. These are ones where they never touch, and these, the perpendicular lines, are ones where they touch, where they cross, but at a 90-degree angle. So to recap what we've talked about today, because this geometry unit was a lot of vocab, it was a lot of definitions, it wasn't really a lot of computations and math. It was a lot of finding and recognizing what these things were. So to recap, a line is a straight thing that goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and never stops. A line segment is a piece of a line. It has a start and a finish, and you can see where it starts and ends. That is a line segment, and it's between 2 points. A ray has a starting point, but then it goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. Perpendicular lines are where two lines cross at a perfect 90-degree angle. If it's not 90 degrees, it's not perpendicular. Parallel lines are two lines that go on and on and on forever and ever and ever that will never, ever, ever touch. And then intersecting lines are two lines that cross, but not at a 90-degree angle. They're just any other type of lines that cross. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a cut in the video, and I'm going to draw this crazy looking thing up here on the board. And your job is going to be to find one line segment, one ray, one perpendicular pair, one parallel pair. I'm not going to worry about the intersecting. This is just something that we need to recognize, but we don't really need to find it in the picture. So I'm going to leave, I'm going to rewrite these terms so that you know what to find, and then I'm going to draw that picture and I'll bring you back in. See you in just a couple seconds. All right, Lightning Leaders, I have put up a whole bunch of lines up here on the board, and what I would like you to do is to go through, find one line segment, one ray, one set of parallel lines, and one set of perpendicular lines. I triple checked to make sure that there was one of each in here. Some of them actually have multiple, so you have a few options for some of these, but you only have to write one for each of these. If this is the video that you choose to show your work with, I look forward to receiving it from you. Those of you that responded to the metric unit video, you do not have to send me work for this, but I still would like you to practice this because it's good to do. So I will see you guys next time when we talk about angles. See you then.